Hi guys, please know that I'm thinking about you today, and I really hope that everybody is doing a little bit better. That is always the goal, isn't it? Let's try to feel a little bit better today, which leads me into the question that I get often is, how did I heal from this illness? What did I do to heal myself from this illness? And I feel like that is a big question, because I feel like there's many pieces to it, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. I feel like healing from this illness is really almost like doing a recipe. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that, and you just keep going until you have this great recipe, and then you have a greater outcome. Fortunately, I've been aware of a lot of great people since I was young that I would tap into to help me with life and life's issues and help me grow and evolve. So this started for me in my 20s. And even that being said, you can see how even knowing and having so much information, you can still become very ill. And I feel like that about any illness. You see how people are, exercising, eating the right diet, doing a lot of great brain thinking, emotions, and you can walk outside and still have a heart attack. I mean, there's so many aspects to health and wellness that it's mind-blowing. But I'm going to get back to talking about what I did to heal. Like I said, did many different things, and fortunately, I felt knowing what I had was so amazing to me that I finally found a doctor that knew what I had helped other people with this illness, had this illness himself. So I felt when I was entering Dr. Lam's program that I was at least in touch with somebody that understood the illness. Because before that, I didn't even know what I had and was suffering from many symptoms throughout many years and was misdiagnosed or given somebody says, take this pill or take this or take that. So, it felt like a relief to me that I at least had a diagnosis. So many of you are possibly assuming that you might have this, or cannot afford to go to someone for help, or are not believed by people in your life that this is what you have no support. So like I said, there's so many issues and little pieces to this illness altogether. And I also remember two very big pieces that Dr. Lam said. This is a very psychological illness, which triggered me to pay very close attention to my mind. As well as he also said, stay positive and grateful as much as possible. And that to me also made me understand to focus a lot of my attention on my mind as well. And because I realize that every thought, feeling, and emotion that we have has an impact on our bodies. So also from my past and learning so much through various great people, I also knew just how much the mind played a big part in your life. But like I said, my illness was already brewing for so many years, and regardless of what I was doing, it didn't have the impact on me like it would have if I wasn't suffering from AFS for so long. And because I did eat in a healthy way, I did exercise, I did all these amazing things, and I would either wind up being injured quickly, or my stamina was not great, or I was anxious, or I was getting depressed. So I had all these multiple symptoms, even though I had made drastic lifestyle changes for years. So it's important to note that if we have this illness that's brewing underneath, it is just a signal, if you do know you have it, that we must work diligently on our minds. And I can't say that enough. I mention it often in my videos pertaining to strategies, because all these strategies add up to healing. I use these are strategies for healing. They're not just something that I'm doing on a daily basis to get me through. They're for healing. They will eventually add up to healing the mind and the body. And that's why I'm so specific about doing them consistently, commit to them, and that's how important they are. Besides, I'll just jump into diet real quick. When I was taken out of the world by my crash, I did go get some blood work initially by my PCP. I wasn't able to drive at that point. It was a couple days after I had my serious crash. My partner couldn't take me, so I had to take a cab, which is very difficult. Go there, deal with all of talking to my PCP, did the blood work, checked my thyroid and various other things, and they all came back negative. So fortunately, they came back fast, and I was able to, look at them with my partner, and there was just nothing that showed up. And I hope you are aware that that's quite often that's what happens, unless you have a clear thyroid issue where things will show up in that blood work. Excuse me. So diet, I feel, is still important. It's I immediately stopped all dairy, no caffeine. Fortunately, I wasn't addicted to coffee, so I didn't have an issue with that. Many of you will, if you could perhaps switch to a decaf, or even go half and half initially, and slowly wean yourself down if you can. I know many of you are just so addicted, but do your best with that caffeine. Again, I had no sugar, no, even stevia. I cut all that out, even though it's quote unquote a healthy sugar. I watched even my fruit, my glycemic index, my carbohydrates, watch those. I mean, there's so many pieces to this illness. And let's see. Of course, no alcohol, staying hydrated, no cookies, no, ice cream. Watch your sugars, because anything with a sugar Even certain carbohydrates, they spike your sugar and then they drop you down. So that really affects the glucose in your body with your pancreas. And, many of you will have hypoglycemia. And Dr. Lam, actually, I think it was today, he came out with something great on his website, dr.lam, coaching.com. If you want to check it out on hypoglycemia and how sugars impact the body and complex carbohydrates and such. So if you want to go there, please check it out. It came out today. So that would be great if you took a peek at that to familiarize yourself with hypoglycemia. And that tells you too that you must, have some more snacks throughout the day, healthy snacks, not like sugary snacks or anything like that, and eat more often to help you deal with that. I personally had to eat often, so that's another thing, but in a healthy way. I would also like to say, what else did I cut out? If you really think about it, some of these things are quite, common sense. So I did eat a protein. I had healthy fats. I would make myself a very healthy soup. Not me personally. I wouldn't make it. I had to have somebody else make it. And so much that I talk about, again, are the strategies that I used to help me to build on those to eventually have a great outcome. And let me just think. I feel, with all of this being said pertaining to the diet, we cannot exercise, so don't even try to exercise right now, especially in the advanced stages. All of this stuff has to be slow and steady. Oh, I also want to say one more thing. I eliminated gluten. I stayed away from all breads. And I know that's tough for a lot of you because it's just such a staple in our homes that for me, I gave that up as well. Gluten, dairy, caffeine are the big guys. Gluten, dairy, caffeine. And so pay attention to that, okay? I also want to say that it's so important what you're thinking on a daily basis all throughout your day, because we have to get the mind to help the body to relax. I know I've said this so much, but I have to say it again and again, because if we're not staying consistent with how our mind is thinking, it's very easy to get off track, to get negative, to get carry all this sadness, hurt, focusing on the past, focusing on the future, where all of those right now are not as important as focusing on what's happening right this moment. And that's another thing that I did. I focused more on what was happening right in this moment of time. And Eckhart Tolle talks about that in The Power of Now, but it's huge. I gave up clock time because it frightened me so much. A patient of my partner's gave her an angel to give to me. And I held on to that angel like that was a life force. And I believed in that angel as power for my body to heal. I slept with it, I held it in my hand, and if I dropped it at night or I couldn't find it in the morning, it was like a panic. I was like, where's my angel? Where's my angel? And if you have a belief system that you tap into that really helps you, God, spirituality, an angel, whatever it is, tap into that for your power, for your strength. I had so many of those, like angels were a big one. My listening to Muji and Sadhguru were huge influences to help me with my mind that was just out of control. And what they spoke of made total sense to me. So it was wonderful to be able to focus on something that really makes sense to you, that really helps to soothe you and calm you. Those are all gigantic, because I know that while my illness was brewing, that I was doing many, many healthy things. But my illness was taking such control of me that nothing would really stick. But I found that once I started to use all of these good things going in constantly, changing my mind, how it was thinking, being aware, illness is a call to change and a wake up. So what this illness did to me is to, and also what Dr. Lam said about paying attention to what's happening in your mind, because it's a very psychological illness, that triggered to me to always pay attention to what my mind was thinking and switch it over to being more positive and more grateful. And I know this is challenging because we are in the midst of chaos in our bodies with so many symptoms that are going on. But I am just telling you what I had to do constantly. It didn't matter how poorly I felt. And when I talk about what I went through with this illness, I talk about all the symptoms I felt, how challenging it was, but all the strategies that I had to use to get myself to move this illness out of my body. And I want to take this second to, and these strategies became my focus and a bubble world of great information going into me, including food. Eat a good protein. I can say eat organically, but many of you can't eat organically. So just get good veggies in, a good protein, whatever it is for you. Some healthy fats. Do that. Don't just pick up a box of Cheerios and eat those, or, don't just eat toast, because try to eat a protein too. Many of you have food sensitivities. It's a perfect time to bring that up. Many of you have food sensitivities, so you won't be able to eat perhaps what I recommend. Do the best that you can, because I know so many people have food sensitivities during this time. And I personally loved green apples, low glycemic index, and I felt healthy eating them. Yes, it's, is it a bit sour? It didn't matter. I just knew that it was a low glycemic index, so I ate it. This is like kind of where we're at too. Like I don't really like that. Well, do the best you can with things. Do the best you can with your diet. Think about, is this the healthiest thing for me to eat right now? Many of you have to eat more often because of hypoglycemia. That's why I want you to check out Dr. Lam's blog today on hypoglycemia, to learn more about it. I had to eat so often in my day, it was mind-blowing, because my body was burning calories like a wildfire. And so I had to eat often. And many of you will too, and you're not even aware of this. So this would help your body calm down. And so please pay attention to all these things. And every thought, feeling, and emotion that you have on a daily basis is affecting your body. That's why it's so important to be aware of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. If you need to cry, cry, but then let's quickly get better information going into our brains, okay? So important. What you think about, you bring about. Like I had to flood my mind constantly with these little awareness buttons to get back. Like I said, no matter how poorly I was feeling, to get back to better information going in, soothing. We want soothing. And please know, I know many of you have children, many of you have to work, many of you are in total despair, but I'm just telling you, please do your best with all of these things. And I'm not saying, I never once have said any of this is easy, but we have to try. We have to give it our best shot. We have to do these things to the best of our abilities to get things to change in our bodies. There's so much more to go into about this, but I wanted to do something that, just a good start. Because strategies for me are healing. Strategies to me are about lifestyle changes. Strategies to me are everything, because they lead us up to a better outcome in our bodies and in our minds. So please, thank you so much for listening. If you could please like and subscribe. If you have any further questions about this, I will definitely be talking about this, many more details about AFS in further videos. But thank you so much for listening. I greatly appreciate it. And I really hope that today you feel a little bit better as the day goes on. Please take care. Bye-bye.